Dawn with Sovereign Brittanys here. JJ's been our willing participant or semi-willing participant for a bunch of these videos. So we're going to look at his back coat. Evelyn, if you want to come on back here, he actually has a very nice, can you see it from like up top maybe? He actually has a really nice back coat just naturally. So I don't do a lot to it, but I'll show you what I do to it. So, you know, if you're looking for just a pet trim, and you've got, your dog is a fabulous family hunting dog, I would say I wouldn't touch a thing. I would just leave this just as it is. It looks nice, it's easy, it maintains. But if I'm showing him, which I do, he's a grand champion and he's done some nice winning. He's been in the top 20. I would clean this up a little bit and not so much back here. I would maybe thin this out a little bit, but I'm gonna work on this a little bit up here and then his neck. And this is where it's nice, if you can come right behind me, to have this mirror so we can stack him up. So if you come right behind me and shoot like right from the back of my head, see, you can see, like if I'm looking in the mirror, he's got like a little bump right there that I'd like to see get taken out of there. They're always gonna have like a change of coat right here, you know, where there's this little bit longer stuff and then it gets shorter right in through here. So they're always gonna have this, this spot right here where the coat changes. It gets longer and then shorter. So it's harder to blend that area, but we can still do that. But it's nice to have this mirror, if at all possible, so you can look at what you've got going and you can see, you know, the tail set, top line, and then the undercarriage as well. And I think we'll do that in a different video, work on the undercarriage. Okay, so let's go back over here. I use a stripping knife, but I don't use it a lot. I use it sparingly. If I were to strip him weekly and just strip and first of all, it wouldn't look very good. And second of all, it's gonna change the coat. Because you're pulling some of that hair out when you're stripping. See that? It's not just dead hair. It's live hair that you're stripping out. And it doesn't hurt him. I don't know how, frankly, but it doesn't. And so I'm stripping some of that coat out. And if I were to just strip, it would change his coat to the point where it's not even gonna look good. And you can't get it back once you do that. You're done. So, and this is just me. This is how I like it. This is how I do it. I'm sure everybody has their own way of doing things. But it works better if I'm gonna, and I do like to strip some. But it works better on a dirtier coat, actually. Because it grabs the hair better on a dirtier coat. So you want to take smaller sections for when you're stripping, and you can see my left hand here, I'm a righty, my left hand is pulling this skin tighter, and it's not hurting him. He would tell us, he's a baby, he would tell us if it was hurting him, so it's not. Now you have to have this very flat against the skin. You can see, maybe if you come at it from this angle, yep, or that, from the side, you'll be able to see what kind of angle I have this at. And so I've got it at a little bit of an angle, but you never ever want to come at it all the way vertically. So you want it pretty much horizontal. So there's that. Now I'm going to come at, this part's always more challenging because you have to get their head position just right. And of course I'm doing the side that you can't see. Maybe you can come over here on this. It's hard to, I usually am in the way to see what I'm doing. So I'm pulling his skin tight with my left hand here, and no, he's not in any duress. He doesn't mind this. Well, he probably doesn't love it, but he doesn't mind it. And I take smaller sections and I'll just strip this. So I'll do, again, a little bit of stripping. And I'll strip. You're right, bud. And then, again, you gotta kind of pull this tight. And I'll strip this. Now, if you're stripping and you're not getting anything, then there's nothing that the stripping knife is gonna do for you and for the dog's coat. And I'm gonna do a couple different kinds of coats. So on different videos. So you'll be able to see what different kind of coats look like. Although right now I don't have anybody very hairy. So I'm gonna struggle with finding somebody with a really heavy coat. I don't have anybody. All right, so we did that, and we're stripped that. She's like, oh, good. Done with that part. Stand, buddy. All right, I'm gonna get this tighter because that's too loose. And he's moving around too much. I know, stand. No, stand. He's like, I'm 7, almost 7. I shouldn't have to do this stuff anymore. All right, there we go. Okay. Now I'm gonna do a little bit more with the comb and the scissors. So let me get back over to this side. So anything that you're gonna do here with like the comb and the scissors, it's gonna grow back normally. Unlike the stripping knife. If you sit there and strip it and strip it, strip it, it could grow back differently. JJ, hold still. And it definitely helps to have a cooperative dog. Now you see where it's shorter here, so I don't want to mess with that, but I want to get this longer stuff to kind of blend into this a little better. JJ, he's like, Mom, when you're talking, I feel like you want me to do something. No, you're just fine, buddy. So I'm gonna use that hair and make sure I'm only getting that hair, and I'm gonna move the comb and the scissors really, and I'm not gonna take too many strips. So you can see, I think on the comb, I'm not getting the full length of hair, I'm just getting a fraction of the ends of the hair. Okay, and I'm gonna do this, especially in the neck area. It works well. JJ, I'm not really cooperating here. You can do things like put their ears and tighten that a little better to get the ears out of the way. You're not hurting them. And again, just to get this neck better. You want to keep that comb moving. But that neck can get so thick, and then right in through here it can get really thick too. So I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. I got a little bit of the length, so this blends in better with this shorter stuff. I'm liking how I got that. Now, I'm gonna just switch spots over here. It's a little bit thick, so I'm gonna go under the coat and just take one cut at a different spot each time, and I'm gonna actually pull his head out so I can get to this, like the back of his neck, and I'm kind of doing a bunch of cuts, not in the same spot, but I did a bunch of cuts at once just to make this a little bit quicker. JJ, hold still. And then I'm just gonna comb that out and see what that looks like. And then see. Oh, yep, I like it. So you can see that hair is more the full length hair because it's longer, because I went in and I took pieces out. Now this ridge right here can get really thick, but it's probably the hardest to get. And yeah, you could have somebody help you hold the head and all that, but you really want the dog to learn to just stand here and be positioned enough that you can do this without somebody helping you. So the easiest way to get this ridge right here, which I said can be so thick, is just to grab their muzzle and tip their head down and just go in and get that, go in underneath and get that hair right there. Oh, excuse me. So you get that thinned out nice. All right, bud, put your head up, you're okay. Good boy. All right, so I really like how that turned out too. You can see how much better that is. And look at how much prettier this lays too. What I should have done, if I was really fancy at this, and thankfully Evelyn's here, this wouldn't be getting done at all. But if I could do like a before and after, that would be kind of fun, but I'm not that fancy. All right, so now let's come over and do this side. And it can be trickier doing the off side. So you really have to be careful to maneuver the dog, maneuver yourself, your body, your hand, the scissors, and make sure you're always cutting either with the grain or against the grain, but never across the grain. Does that make sense? Like, you never want to cut across the grain. You always want to go with it. Or if you're tipping it off, and once in a while I'll come in here like this. He really doesn't need this, but I'm gonna just kind of show you anyway. You can come and again go with the grain, because you can see the hair is coming like this, right? So I can come and I can just tip that hair. All I'm doing is getting the top. I'm not even sure I'm getting anything on that scissors doing that, but I'm getting just enough. You can see some falling there. I'm getting just enough. So you can come on and tip that, but like this spot, instead of tipping it like this way, I'd rather come at it like this. And so this, I guess in this situation, you do come across the hair like this, but the trick is to keep it moving. But yeah, I guess I am coming at the hair. I'm one of those people, like, just watch me do it. I don't explain it well, but you do come across the hair, but the trick is keep the scissors moving, keep the comb moving, and you'll just tip a little bit of that length off to help it all blend in nice. Stay. And sometimes you just need patience and just keep telling them to stay, moving their head forward. And again, I can look in that mirror and go, I like it. See how nice that looks in that mirror? And now this is not bathed, so I don't want to go too crazy. Like, this is what I would call like a rough out. Like, it's nice. So if I'm gonna, Phoenix, I'm talking. So if I'm gonna get him ready for a dog show, I'm gonna bathe him now and blow dry him out and pull this straight. Use the blow dryer and pull this straight with the blow dryer. I wouldn't towel this dog because I don't think he needs it, but I would pull it straight with this. And then, like at the dog show even, I would come back and I would fix anything that I don't like. But I sure like that. That looks really pretty. He's got a really pretty set of shoulders. Stay. And so it makes it easier when they've got nice pieces to work with. Now, he's got a little bit here that I'd like to thin out. So let's look at that. So you can see, if you can maybe kind of see from the top, or can you see it from that? I don't know. But you can, and a lot of dogs too, they'll have like a little bit shorter stuff here, and then it gets longer right here. So I'm gonna just take this, and I'm gonna do that same technique. I don't know what it's called. I just do it. I've never been trained officially, just watched some amazing groomers and breeders and handlers in my breed groom their dogs for 35 years, and I've just picked up a lot of things along the way. And some other breeds too, like Sue Hanen with Irish Setters. She's since left us, but she was an amazing groomer. Especially on these back coats, and she taught me quite a bit too on how to do a back coat. So I'm really liking the way he's looking right now. I'm not going to mess with him anymore. I'm gonna see if I can find a couple other dogs with some different back coats, and I'll show you what I do with them. But I'm liking him for right now. So if you have any questions, let me know. DawnDroll@gmail.com or www.sovereignbrits.com is our website. So now we're going to work on Phoenix. This is Jersey. This is Jersey. She just turned a year old. She got her championship one weekend and turned around and finished her grand championship the next weekend. She's really a pretty girl. She when she was younger, she had a very wiry coat. She got from Grandma Godiva, but she has since grown out of it quite a bit, which I was hoping she would, so that's good. She's not as good of an example as I would have liked her to be, because that wiry coat would have been interesting to talk about. On the wiry coat, and what I'll do on her coat right now, is I will go ahead, Phoenix, we're not playing this game, I just strip it with a stripping knife, especially the wiry coat. So I'm going to start by just stripping that, just like we did JJ's. Now on that wiry coat that she had, I would strip it actually quite a bit because I was hoping to change the coat. So I don't... Phoenix! You are doing very bad. Here, take it home. So I was doing quite a bit of stripping on her at that point, and actually she was with Maria, so Maria was doing that, stripping on her quite a bit, and because that's really all you can do with a wiry coat is strip it. You can't cut it really at all. You could maybe tip the top of it, but you can't really cut that wiry coat. All you can do is strip it, and you can use the coat, a towel or a drying coat on it to get it to lay as flat as possible. That's really all you can do with a wiry coat. And it's even tricky to blend it. You know, when you blend the neck in or the butt, it's tricky to blend that wiry coat. But thankfully she's mostly grown out of that. So at this point with her, she's got a really pretty coat right now. If she just stayed like this, I would be very happy. It's very pretty, very easy. So I'm going to just strip this a little bit to pull some of that extra hair out. But again, I don't like to overstrip. So I'm just going to work through it. Sorry, I'm doing the wrong side here. I'm not as good at reaching over, but I'm just going to pull some of that out until she kind of gets sick of it a little bit and I get sick of it. And then we'll... And I don't usually do this. I usually stand on the same side I'm stripping, but again, keep that stripping knife flat. So I'm moving on now to scissoring. You can see she's got a real pretty tail set, so I'm not gonna mess with this. And it's interesting how the white coat is different than the orange coat. It's thicker. It's usually a little bit more cottony, and the orange coat or the liver coat, boy, livers are a whole nother beast, let me tell you. And I've had many livers, put livers in the top 10. I've had Godiva, my #1 producing bitch. Her grandmother was liver. I love livers, but their coats can be very challenging. And I don't have any livers right now to show you, but anyway, you can see how the different colors even have different textures to them, and you kind of treat them differently a bit. So I'm going to leave that orange because it's and always, you know, make sure you're looking at them with that tail up, because when they're moving in like the show ring, they're going to have their tail up. When you're stacking them, they're going to have their tail up. So always groom with their tail up, and sometimes they'll hold it on their own. Otherwise, just keep putting it up and holding it and seeing where it's at, and then you can figure out where you want it. So I like this part, but this, especially this white, is a little bit thick. So I'm going to go in here. Sometimes I give this just a couple swipes to get the comb going through nicely. Maybe it's a little dirty or whatever. Get that comb, and then I'm just gonna start that scissoring process. But you have to be able to move that comb through, because if you get stuck and that comb's there and you're just scissoring and scissoring, you're gonna make a nasty line. And you know what? Plan on it. Plan on making nasty lines. Plan on digging holes. It's gonna happen. I still do my fair share of holes and lines, and thankfully I'm pretty good at grooming them back out once I put them in, which helps, but it will happen. But like I said, it almost make you a better groomer, because if you can figure out how to get rid of them once you put them in there, that's a benefit. So I already like how that's looking. That turned out nice. It's still a little bit thick, so I'm actually gonna go underneath and thin that out just a little bit. Oh, all across here. And I'm really just getting that white because that white's so much thicker than the orange. And always, you know, comb, 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 comb. Now, I kind of like how I'm going to try and get this white a little bit more. And I'm going to try, if I can, and concentrate more on the white. There we go. And I like how that looks. This is a little bit thick right in through here. So I'm going to go ahead and take a couple chunks out of there and see if I can get that more the way I want it. This tail also could use to be blended just a smidge, so I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to try, I'm going to go ahead, maybe you'll watch me dig a hole, who knows. And I'm going to go ahead and take that orange down a little bit too. It's just a little thick in through there. And it's always nice to get this to lay flat so they don't have this big rump on them. So I'm liking that. And again, I try not to do too much before I give them that final trim after their bath, because the bath can change them quite a bit. So I'm just gonna groom that tail up a little bit. So I'm liking that now. And we did all this in our butt video. So so that's already done. And I'm gonna do another video on the undercarriage and the front feathering. We'll see if we can do one on that. So I'm just gonna keep cleaning this up until it's where I want it. And if you're kind of pulling it back like this and you can see some real unevenness, you know, just go ahead and even it up. And some of this is just playing with it for a while to see what's comfortable to you and what you like. I really like that, how that's turning out though. Okay, now her front piece. So I'm really liking this. I'm not messing with this at all. It's like, typically this part is the easiest part. You really don't mess with it much, maybe to strip it a little bit. I really liking how this is flowing into this. So I'm liking this now. I'm gonna go in here and work with this just a little bit, but I like it. So I'm not gonna mess with it a whole lot. This looks like it, hold on, good girl. This looks like I probably shaved her for the shaving video and then didn't blend it. So I'm gonna blend this a little bit here, just so I get a better picture of what it should look like. And then I'm gonna go underneath and I'm gonna get this, take some bulk out here. Again, just that one cut in each spot, and then comb it and see how it looks. And again, this orange is gonna act differently than the white. So I wanna be careful I don't just treat them the same, because they're not. They have different characteristics, that hair. So I'm combing that. She really has a nice coat. It's really easy. I don't know that sometimes you just gotta feel it, and it's not real thick, it's not long. I like how it goes in. If I'm kind of looking at it though, like from this way, like I would look in the mirror this way and see in the mirror, this side almost looks a little bit bulky to me. So I'm gonna come in, which probably makes sense, right? Because I already thinned the other side of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do to this side. If you wanna come over here, I'm gonna do the same thing. And again, I've talked a lot about, positioning the head, grabbing the ear, putting the ear somewhere where you can hold it gently and get it out of the way, different. But you can't make good cuts and good trims if with the dog fighting you, or with the dog with their head in one position. You have to be able to kind of move them around a little bit to get that the best cut on them, the best trim. So I got this. So I went, you could see I I just went along this line where I trimmed it and I got that scissored so it blends nice now. So now I'm gonna come in here just like I did on the other side, and I'm gonna blend this. I'm not gonna take much of that orange because, like I said, it acts so differently. But I'm gonna come over here. You can see there probably. I'm gonna come and I'm gonna just get some more of this white out. It's just so much thicker typically than the orange. Let me just get some of that white out. And hopefully you've bought from a good breeder that will help you with some of these trims, or if you have any questions. I know my puppy people will email me and say, I don't know how to do the feed, or I'm struggling with a lump over the shoulders or whatever, and I'll try and like do a little video as best I can by myself or with Joe helping, and I'll try and send a little video or just talk you through how I would deal with something like that. So hopefully you're getting help from your breeder too, because that's what your breeder should be there for. So I'm just gonna tip this a little bit, comb it. Make sure you're combing after you make a couple cuts, because you might see something that you don't like. All right, so if I look in that mirror and I get it all stacked up, I should make a video on stacking too, shouldn't I? Stacking and even maybe gating. They don't always stack the best for me on the table because they're worried about getting groomed, but I like that. That's pretty. There's no big harsh transitions. This could have a little bit more, that orange is going to be a little bit flatter than all that white. It's just a different consistency, but I sure like that. So, yeah, you're pulling back on me. There you go, good girl. So I'm gonna leave that until I bathe her, and then I might come back and trim a little bit more once she's bathed and blow dried, but that's how I like her. All right, we're gonna look at Farmer, but there's not much on him, but we'll take a quick peek at him. Now we're back with Farmer. He is a 2-year-old. His mom is Tinker, if you know my dogs. He has such a nice back coat. He just turned 2, so we'll know more when he's 4, when he's got a fully adult coat in. But all summer he's had almost no hair. It's just this pretty easy, no maintenance, and he's very correct. So he's got a real nice top line, tail set. So it's very easy to just maintain this nice coat. But now that we're starting to head into fall, is starting to get a little thicker on his neck and on his shoulders. So I'll try and do a little bit with him, but he doesn't need much. Now in another couple months he'll need some more, because he'll get a thicker coat in. But he drops almost all his coat for the summer, which is smart and easy for me. So. But if he had some things that I wanted to fix, like if his tail set was low, or he roached in his top line or something, I'd want more hair to play with so I could fix what I don't like, because they all have faults. Let me tell you, even mine. So they all have faults, and that is our job to know what their faults are, and to minimalize them to the judge when we're showing them, but also when we're breeding them to know what their faults are, so we can concentrate on a good breeding and getting away from those faults if at all possible. So I'm going to start on the back end here. He's just a little bit of a thickness coming in here, and I just trimming up his tail a little bit. So it was kind of curly up here. So I just went up, I don't know if you can come like right on the top, and I just cut just some of this just right off the top. There's one thing I tend to do. I have certainly been known to scalp my tails a little too close. So I'll try not to do that. But I just took that hair off, so that looks nice. Again, there's really just nothing to do here. It's maybe hard to tell in the video, but there's just very little hair there, and it's very, very easy. So this stuff, good boy. And you have to be careful when they're transitioning their coat, like now that he's getting in his fall and winter coat and it's gonna get thicker. I don't wanna mess with it too terribly much, because I want to wait till it all comes in and then play with it. But I'll take, for purposes of our video and for doing what we're doing here, I will mess with that. So I didn't like how long this was. I just took that and made that a little bit shorter. Now, again, if he's just a wonderful family dog and a hunting dog, which he is, actually, he's dual pointed. Well, he's finished champion, and then he's also got field trial points that my trainer's son at age 8 put on him. So he's a good bird dog, that's for sure. But if that's all I was worried about, I wouldn't even touch this coat. This is beautiful, easy, beautiful, no maintenance. Now, because I'm showing him now and again, not a whole lot, but I will take it and just, again, for video purposes, I will just take it and mess with it some. So again, this white is always a little bit thicker than the orange. And I'm gonna take that and I'm just gonna even that out a little bit. So when I comb that down, it's evened out. Now, looks like I might have done him on my shaving video, and I did not thin this in. So you can see where that's not thinned in. So I'm gonna do that. Because it's like the back, for me, and again, I'm not probably the best person in the planet to do as a groomer, although I think I can hold my own, but I like to do the back coats last. So I would do the shaving first, the shaving in the neck and under the tail, I would do that first. Then probably the feet, and then ears, and then I would come back and I would thin this in, and then I would maybe get to the back coat, and then I would trim maybe this front, which he has like no hair up here right now, and then underneath the underline would be like the last thing I would trim. Personally, it's just how I like to do things. So again, I might go under a little bit to thin it a little bit. Comb it, see how I like that? And then I might go over the top of it to take some of that out right along that line, to make that line. And again, look at me having to really work his head around a little bit here in his ear so I can get him in a good position so I don't make bad cuts. That is the trickiest thing, at least for me, is to make sure that I'm in the right position, him and me, to make a good cut. If I just start going at it, it won't end up good. Now, this part and the front and the feathering, I'm gonna do in a different video. So I'm just thinning this in right now so I can work on this back coat and get a better picture for the back coat. So just thinning this in, just going right along that line, and I'm just making cuts, but I'm kind of moving my scissors, you can see, right? I should probably slow down, but you know what? I'm better at just doing it than I am explaining it. So if I start slowing down or doing something different, I probably will goof it up. So, hi buddy. He's not quite as professional at this. I mean, he's doing a good job right now, but he hasn't been groomed as much as some of the older guys that are been doing this a while, like JJ. All right, so I don't like this. Can you see how that's a little bit thicker? And I kind of would like to wait till his coat grows in a little bit more. He gets that more of his fall winter coat, but I'm gonna go ahead and work it anyway. All right, Ben, stay there. This is all kind of part of it. Stay. Just thin this in. I should stay away from that because I'll work on that in the next video, but it's hard for me. I'll sometimes move around a bit. If I see something I don't like, I like to take care of it right away so I don't forget about it. So sometimes I do some jumping around. All right, so this white stuff is thicker than that orange stuff, so, and longer typically. So you see, he's really good about it. Like if I just say stand and I push his head over, he's really pretty good about just keeping it where I set it, which is so helpful. But that's just patience and experience and time. So look at that. That's really pretty. I like that now. I'm going to work on this just a little bit more, but sometimes the more you work on it, the bigger you can make the problem or what you don't like. So you have to kind of know, oh, that turned out nice. And what can be tricky on this too, and you just have to play with it, is when you get coats like his, that's kind of thinner like this, it's not real thick, is that you can, it can be a different color. So do you see how like I trimmed a bunch right here and it's a lighter color than this is? So you got to be careful when you're trimming. You don't want to make it like a spotlight of where you just trimmed, but you also want to make sure you have a nice look to it too. So that's why like on somebody like him that kind of does that, has that different color if it's thinner, to do it ahead of time. You know, do it a couple weeks ahead of time and then it blends in better. So there's that. If we come over, you can see I haven't even used, well, I could probably use the stripping knife a little bit up here. Good boy, hon. Make sure you're holding on to that head or that tie. And that's actually doing me some good to get that stripping knife in there, pulling some of that out. The hard part, again, is keeping that skin tight so you don't rip the skin. I have done that maybe once. Not fun for anybody. So keep that skin tight. Keep it combed. And if I go here, so see this spot right here? I mean, I could comb it and play with it to get it where I want it, where it looks nice, but I think I'm just gonna kind of cut that a little shorter because I don't love that. And he's kind of fighting me here on this stack thing, but so I'm gonna go ahead and come over to this side. And here was that piece that I just don't love. So I'm gonna take that, and I'm gonna try and stay away from the orange and not get the orange. I'm gonna try and just, you know, pull on that white as much as possible. Just get that white and tip that off the way I want it. Yeah, that's better. See how nice that lays? So he's got that same thing kind of up here. So I'm going to tip his head down. I'm going to get on the other side. And I'm going to just come up here and just thin some of this out. Pretty much they all have this where it just kind of gets real thick right there. So I'm going to just take that and thin that out. Again, the hardest part is getting their body and your body adjusted so you can make some good cuts on that. Good boy, hon. All right. I am gonna be happy with that. Now, if you've got some spots, like right here, can you see where, come on over here behind me maybe and look in the mirror. Can you see where like this orange spot can come over the edge there? What I might do is I might come in here and I might very carefully, and you want to play with this in advance, and it doesn't come over too far for him, but you could just kind of come in here very carefully. And again, you got to be careful not to make a hole, and you don't want to do it too far. And on him, it really doesn't come over far enough to worry about, but you'll get that on some dogs. So see, I basically got that out of the way so it doesn't come over onto the other side. Now you can also use some mousse to make sure that you keep that over here so it doesn't come over to the other side to make it look like he's kind of chopped off here. So you keep that white over. So there's different reasons to keep things trimmed and neatened up, but it's always nice to have good markings to help you figure out what to do. So anyway, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, let me know. Just give me a shout or text me, or mail at sovereignbrits.com. The website is www.sovereignbrits.com. So thanks for watching the video, and we'll do a couple more. We'll get an underline done and maybe the front piece done. So thanks for watching.